Hi, hello, I'm Liz and I'm here with another Brand Glossary video for you on the Ostara Studio channel. I'm super excited for today's term, and maybe now you won't understand why someone can be so stupidly excited over a specific brand term, but at the end of the video I'm hoping you will really feel the gravitas of this specific term. And the term is brand purpose. So what is brand purpose? In this video, I'll explore what it is, why it's meaningful, and how you can really use it in your business. The reason I'm so excited about this specific term is because I really feel that it sets the foundation for any prosperous business. And it's really a way in which we can make a change in the world, but I'll get to that a little bit later. Let's start with some academic descriptions of brand purpose. Carla Enslin, a brand specialist and a brand academic, who's also the founder of a South African branding school called Vega, explains that brand purpose is the motivation of a brand. It's the most meaningful reason why a brand exists. It's also the reason why audiences connect and resonate with a brand. They believe in that same motivation. Other academics, Joachim Staller and Aker, explain brand purpose in related terms. They explain it as a brand essence, a brand soul, or even a brand's promise. Looking into these related terms, we can start seeing that it's not just about the functional meaning behind a brand. It's more deeper, it's more meaningful. Think of the words like essence and soul. Would we have normally related that to a product function? Not at all. It really is about that more deeper connection, the deeper motivation behind a brand. Now let me take my academic hat off and put my French beret on. Here's how I see brand purpose. Brand purpose is the raison d'être. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but in English, reason for existing. It's a brand's reason for existing, the reason they started their business. And it goes beyond the functional reason for existing and has to do with something a little bit more deeper and meaningful. In today's world where so much is going on and we're not just looking at profits anymore within businesses, we're looking at the people of the planet and the planet itself, that deeper, meaningful reason for existence becomes really vital in the success of running a business, running an entrepreneurship. Moreover, brand purpose is really that drive behind a brand's actions. So it's the motivation behind what they do and why they do specific things. Let me use a few examples to illustrate this idea of brand purpose. Let's think about potential entrepreneurs, startups and freelancers. Why do they start their own thing? And if you think of an employee leaving a company and they're going out and starting their own thing, what is the reason for doing that? Is that a level of independence? Were they potentially mistreated at the company they were at before as an employee? Or do they feel that they can reach a higher potential going out on their own and make a greater impact? Perhaps it's doing what they love doing. That can be a simple motivation factor and a why factor behind a brand's existence. And then looking at like tech startups as an example, many of them really started these startups because they believe in technology and what technology can do for the world. So there's a different motivating factor, a deeper why behind why they do what they do. And we see this specifically recently with the Kickstarter era, right? We've seen how tech startups post on, I think it's post, but put a campaign up on Kickstarter, and the ones that do really well are the ones that have a really strong why, a really strong raison d'être. Raison d'être? So why is brand purpose important? Now, in today's world, we really have to go beyond just profits. It's becoming people, planet, and profits. That's what's really important. We can't really deny the fact that consumerism or business to just disappear, or economics for that matter disappear. Yes, maybe in an ideal socialism world that would be possible, but it's not going to disappear anytime soon, right? The way to improve life for all life on the planet, and for the planet hopefully itself, is to consider deeper, more meaningful purposes. And not in a fake or false superficial way, because people will quickly figure out when you are presenting a falsehood of your why. And I think that's why a lot of older businesses are actually battling to embrace where the world is going with business, because they might have started their business in a period where that purpose, or having a purpose like that, wasn't necessary, and now it's becoming necessary and they have to change their whole business model. And yes, they do have to change their whole business model, because we need to consider people, planets, and profits, not just profits by itself. And how we should really think about this is purpose, brand purpose specifically, that why, that reason for existing, that essence, why it's necessary is also because it can help you connect with your people more easily. It can help people internally that are working for you to feel more fulfilled and work towards something specific. And it can also help consumers, which I hate using the word consumers, we should just be referring to people. For people who are potentially considering purchasing from you, for them to connect with you more meaningfully. And it's important to them as well, right? It's important to us to connect with brands whose values we share. And it starts with purpose. So one of the things that I see some of my clients struggle with is really to translate that brand purpose into brand messaging that they can use on social media platforms or on their website, for instance. So how do you do that? I'd like to provide 5 tips on how I think you can really implement brand purpose within your messaging. And it really starts with foundation setting. Tip number 1, have you actually explored what your brand purpose is? Does it have corresponding brand identity elements like values, vision, personality within the brand ID? If not, you might want to go see a brand strategist and contact a brand strategist to help you really own in on those elements, because that will really help you to be able to translate something to brand messaging and to content. Tip number 2, is your brand purpose visible and is it clear? Now, what do I mean with visible? Is it accessible to your internal stakeholders? Do your external stakeholders have access to the brand purpose? Do they even know what it is? Is there a brand book? Is it even in your tagline or mantra of your business? Maybe there's actual training on the brand ID for your internal stakeholders. They need to be able to see it very easily and simply and connect it. And similarly, is it visible to your target audience? So is it visible on your website? Do people really know what your brand purpose is, or are you constantly talking about your product or service offering? Tip number 3, do as you say. It's that simple. So if you are presenting something to the public, make sure that your actions are aligned to what you do. It really is that simple. Time and time again, we're seeing brands who say specific things and then they go and do the opposite. And that's an immediate red flag to any audience. And doing as you say is really just about embodying that purpose. And tip number 4, insert your brand purpose into your communication strategy. With a strategy, you will firstly have to reflect on all those touch points and see whether those touch points really represent your purpose. It's about being very intentional about every interaction that you create for your audience and for your clients and customers. So have a clear strategy in place where you consider your brand purpose as part of that communication strategy. Tip number 5 is all about being authentic. And I know this is very difficult for larger corporations and sometimes a lot easier for entrepreneurs. And the reason is probably because having aligned authenticity over multiple stakeholders is potentially a lot more difficult. But in your recruitment process, when it's really clear about your purpose and what the company does, you will attract internal stakeholders that will be able to reflect that purpose as well. So let me flip that. If a brand is constantly doing the opposite of its brand purpose, okay, then they're not really authentically representing that purpose, are they? Their actions aren't aligned. But when your actions are aligned and you're just being who you are, you will very easily just naturally be representing your brand purpose. There's not a lot of thinking about it because you are simply being and doing. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.